This morning, I'm going to go over the insert functions of Google Slides. Okay, the first thing we're going to insert is an image. So I'm going to go to a blank slide, and now I'm going to go up to Insert and click on Image. Now there's a bunch of different ones we can do here, and we're going to do them all. Let's go to Upload from Computer. So from my computer, I have a lot of different options of images I can choose. I'm going to go to Downloads because I purposely downloaded some things just to make life easier for us. And I'm going to do the Google logo. And then I'm going to open it. Here we go. There you go. Now let's try inserting something else. Okay. If we go back up to Insert, and this time we do search the web, you get like a little search box on your right hand side. Let's see what we get for winter. Okay, just grab a picture and insert. Kind of a weird green picture for winter. Okay, easy enough. Next function. Insert GIFs and stickers. Fun. Okay. Yeah. GIF. All right, let's do Baby Yoda. So there's a lot of interesting ways you could use GIFs like this in your Google Slides. Say, for example, you want to have a moving background. I'm going to try to insert another GIF, but I'm going to show you a different way to use it. First, I'm going to get rid of my text boxes. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to Insert GIF. And I'm going to put in winter. Okay. Say, for example, you're creating something, I don't know, maybe a lyric video for your students. If you find an appropriate slide, it can look nice with lyrics behind it. Okay, let's try Snoopy. All right. So I found one with Snoopy. Let's see how it looks when we stretch it out. It has a little watermark on it. It looks okay. All right. Let's see how it looks when we stretch it from the side. Not bad. All right, so now the next thing I'm gonna do is to be able to like put lyrics over this. I need to format the image a little bit. So I'm gonna go to Format Options, and let's try Adjustments and then Opacity. And I'm gonna bring the opacity way down. Now, the reason I would do something like this is so that the students can still see the image, so that it's something interesting on the screen. But I'm gonna send this image to the back. So now, and now I'm gonna create a text box over the top of it. So to insert a text box, you can go to Insert and then Text Box. And that's the next thing we were going to do. So, oops, it didn't insert. Insert Text Box. There we go. See how your cursor changed to a plus? That means it's activated that text box. So now I'm going to drag to create the size of text box that I would like. And now I can type over the top of this image. So say, for example, I was going to put lyrics up here. And so I could type in my lyrics over the top of my image. And let's make them massive just so that they're there. And then let's format their alignment. Center. And middle. So essentially I could create lyric sheets or things for my students to read that are interesting and legible, that have pictures with motion behind it, or a GIF behind it, however you want to say it. So anyways, I'm just giving you some ideas of how you can make your slides look a little more interesting. Let's move on to the next slide, because I have some other interesting things that you can do with images. For example, I put this background here for a reason, because I want to show you that there is an option that comes up for images that doesn't come up for other things. So, for example, if you look above, do you see there's this thing that says crop image? And then next to it, there's this down arrow, and it says mask image. And then we have reset image, replace image, and format options. So a lot of these options and animate don't show up unless you have, or specifically have, an image. So say we were building a picture and we wanted to create something from scratch. I'm going to go back to images, and I'm going to search the web for, I'm going to make a house. But I'm going to start by just searching for a texture. So I'm going to choose to use bricks. Let's see how this looks. Okay, it's a little big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down until it's like the size of like a square, or kind of a small square, something like that. And I'm going to leave it on top of the grass. Now, I am going to create an image from an image. This trick is really cool. So I'm going to put another image in to try to help me create a house. But I'm going to create the house from other images. So, for example, I'm going to search the web again, and I'm going to upload another texture. But the texture I'm going to upload this time is going to be for shingles. Okay. Let's try that again. Roofing shingles. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, okay. This looks good. All right, so then I picked some shingles, which again are square. Now I'm just gonna make them a little bit smaller because that's gonna be way too big. All right, now here's the cool part. Now that we have our shingles, I have the image highlighted. Now I'm gonna go up and click on this thing that says mask image, and I'm gonna click on a triangle so that I can make this a roof. Yay! So as you can see, the image that I put on top of it, the triangle, is masking the rest of the image. Now what I can do is I can see this yellow point. I can play with this yellow point to change, where it is. Like I can make it go off to the side. But you have to use the different points of the image to help you shape it the way that you want it to be shaped. So I think it's a little bit big, so I'm going to play with it just a little bit. And then when I let go, I mean, it looks like, kind of looks like a house, a brick wall, and, a roof. And I can continue adding to it to create an image, or whatever image that it is that I want to create, So, like for example, if I don't have an image that I want, you can kind of create images using, you know, these shape tools, and then masking your images to create something interesting, or using patterns rather than just other different kinds of textures. This is just to give you an idea of some different ways that you can use these functions, these very simple functions, in some really artistic ways. So far, we've inserted images that we've uploaded to Drive from our computer. We have searched the web, and we've used Gifs and stickers. So let's insert something from our Drive. I'm going to a blank slide, and I'm just going to get rid of the text boxes on the slide just to make whatever we insert more legible. I go to Insert, Image, and then Drive. And it's going to open a menu on my right-hand side that shows me the things that are available to me through Drive. So these look like these are photos that come up from things that I've taken in the past. So I'm going to quickly choose just something that's here that I can throw up. That I think is interesting. So I really like this one. Look in the mirror. That's your competition. There you go. All right. Let's see what else we can insert. If you go to Insert, Image, and then Photos, this goes to anything that you have, you know, actually saved within your photo folder. So like, for example, I went to Universal recently, and these are some of the pictures that are in my folder. So I'm gonna bring up this super cool car. There you go. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to insert an image, but by URL. So let's go ahead and click it. So when you click this, you have to actually have the URL to add right here. It even adds a little copyright warning down here. All right, so I'm going to cancel and then show you how to find a URL. So I'm going to go to Pixabay, because Pixabay has a bunch of like free pictures, and a lot of them you can check and see what their content licenses are. So like, for example, let me go back a little so you can see. So the pictures at the top are sponsored, and usually you have to pay a little bit for them, but a lot of times when you type in whatever it is you want to type in, like I typed in happy birthday. So for example, the pictures up at the top are more relevant than the ones underneath. But I mean, the free ones are not too bad. I mean, I see some interesting happy birthday ones. You could certainly add something to the picture. I'm gonna go with this one. So when I grab this picture, I can actually see what I can do with it via the content license on the right hand side. And if you click on it, on where it says content license, it'll actually tell you what you can do with the picture in case you're curious. All right. Now, in order to add this via the link, I'm going to right click on this picture, and I'm going to copy the image address. That's for the option that we're doing. So now I'm going to go back to my slides, and I'm going to go up to Insert and Image and URL. And now I can paste the URL that I copied, and it allows me to insert the image. Okay, we're going to look at the final insert function. of images, which is your camera. So when you click on this, it will actually open up your camera so that you can see yourself. It will actually also probably come up with a little disclaimer that will ask you to allow it to access your camera before it comes up. And then when you're done, you just click capture. And that's the image I got. And then I can insert it there if I like it. And if I don't like it, of course, you can just delete it. All right. The next function that we are going to take a look at is being able to insert audio. Now, inserting audio can be a little tricky because you have to know what file types you can actually insert. I had a really funny story occur because I thought that the file types that I had were ones that I could insert. And I'll show you something interesting in a moment, so that way maybe if you're having this issue as well, that it will solve your problem. So after contacting Google and going through the issue that I had been going through, these are the only 5 audio file types that are accepted and supported in Google Slides. So MP3s, MPEG, WAV, .ogg, and .opus. So these are the only ones that are actually supported. So here's the issue that I had, just in case it's happening to you. When I go up to insert and then press audio, first I'm going to make sure it's opening to my drive. I would select my children's music because I'm a music teacher and that's the kind of music I'm usually inserting. And I went to insert like a Christmas song because it is the season. And when I clicked on my Boyz II Men album and then opened it up, I discovered that the folder was empty. Yet I knew the folder was not empty. So now I need you to think back and remember that this menu that we're looking at is a menu within Google Slides. So watch this. When I actually open up my actual drive, I can go in here and take a look at my folders. And when I open up my children's music folder, and then I find that same exact album, Boyz II Men, and when I look at it, it has all the files in it it's supposed to have. So, of course, when I first did this, I was really confused, and I didn't understand why can't I see those files. But what I didn't notice at the time, and which Google was really patient and awesome with me, and I've got to tell you, sometimes they really rock, is that this file is actually an M4A. So an M4A is not supported, and it's the reason why when I go back to my Google Slides, it's why when I open up my folders that music is not available to me, because it's just not supported by that type. So if you're having an issue like this where your folders are coming up empty, check the file type by looking at the here, let me open a file that has one. Check the file type by hovering over the file to see what the file type is, or the ending file type. And this type right here ends with .mp3. So this is an acceptable file type. So to show you how to insert it, I'm going to go ahead and click on my first type here. I'm going to insert it, and it gives me a small visual representation, and you can change the size of this by either dragging it or by changing its size in the format menu, which I will show you in a minute because there is a ridiculous number of functions here. But let's just look at a few of the things that you can do with this once you've inserted it. All right. You could play it immediately just by clicking on the play button here. You can change the volume or turn it off right here. And then these 3 dots, or this charm right here, allows me to see a number of other functions. This one is the playback speed. I can make it as slow as 1/4 speed, or to get it as fast as 2 times the speed. The cool thing about this, and the reason I want to make music teachers aware of this, the pitch is not affected. Check this out. Half speed. So it slowed it down quite a bit, but the pitch has not been affected. And then I can even change it to as much as 2 times the speed. So that's a really cool function to know that exists, especially if you have young players who are learning how to get better at their instruments, and you need that slower, either 3/4% or less, to help them get better. The only thing is, the quarter speed, it sounds terrible. I don't recommend that. So the most you can do is, I would say, is the you get that real tinny. It doesn't sound quite as good. It's not horrible, but you get that tinniness. But at least there's that option here that you could slow it down at least by half speed or 3/4 speed, just to help your kids out if they're learning or practicing something. So that's a really cool option. Now, some of the other options you have here is, let's take a look at this format window. Is how you run this sound. So say, for example, you just want to start playing this song when you click on the slide. So if I have this option selected on click, then when I go to view and slideshow, it opens to this slide, and if I click on it, it should play the sound. Oh. So that way it presents it. So you actually have to click on the icon and not on the slide. Now there is an option to make it play when you open the slide. For example, automatically. So if you click on this, and then I go back to view and slideshow, it should start playing right away. Yep, excellent. So now there's a number of other crazy options that you can do with this. Also be aware that when it's on click, you can't hide the icon. But if you have it on automatically, then you can hide this icon when you're presenting. So like if I click this, it'll play the music, but I won't see the picture image of the audio icon. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to this and show you that you can even change the volume when you're presenting. So say, for example, you want it to be a really specific volume, you can set it to that. You can set it to even loop the audio. So say, for example, you want this to keep playing while you're talking, then you would have this looped until it goes on to the next slide. And then this one I really like, stop on slide change. This is actually not an option that is available in PowerPoint, which I kind of wish was, because that would be really useful function. There are ways you can go about it to change that in PowerPoint, but it's cool that there's actually an option to be like, oh, it's just on this slide. That's pretty cool. All right, let's check out some of these other options. The other options that are here are actually kind of silly, and they all just regard the icon. So say, for example, if I click on size and rotation, all this does is change the icon. So if you look at this here, I can turn the icon at 90 degrees in multiple ways. I can flip it. I can change its angle randomly. Like, the options that are here are kind of ridiculous. That what's available for, it's just for the icon. So it's kind of silly. I mean, as we go through this menu, you'll see, like here, it's specific position. So I can just change, like, for example, where this is. It's funny, though, because it's not changing. But if I click on this, it will change. So I'm not sure if, for whatever reason, what it is that I've done, what I have clicked on or what I haven't clicked on to allow it to change its position to center. I'm definitely going to look at that later and see if I can figure out why. But anyways, other silly things, you can recolor it, which is silly that you have these different options to change the look of the icon. Another one is you can change its opacity. You can change its brightness. So you have further recoloring options. And then its contrast. So if the recolor options that are there are not exactly the ones you want, there are further adjustments. You can give it a drop shadow, which is silly. Not sure why I would want that. Or even to give it a reflection. Again, not sure I really need a reflection of my audio icon. I can change its distance. But apparently that I can change the distance. Sorry, let me try that again because I was accidentally clicked on the text box. Hold up. I wish that this thing could move so that you could see what's happening underneath the icon. But it drags along with it, so it's not easy to see. But basically all that's happening is it's changing there you can kind of see now under the icon because I changed the size of the distance away of the reflection. But it's literally just changing the icon's reflection, which I just don't understand why that would be necessary or why you would want that. But anyways, those are the ridiculous options that you have within format for sound. Not bad. It's quite a few. The next insert function we're going to talk about is the function of inserting video. So again, just like audio, there's only a specific number of types of file extensions that are supported in Google Slides. So I found this great little snip when I Googled it about what file types are actually supported. And this is the list that I found. So WebM files, MPEG-4s, 3GPPs, and MOV files, AVIs, MPEG-PS, and WMVs. And in case you're wondering and what the codec is a way of decompressing and compressing and decompressing a file type, and it usually has to do with either the quality of how that file looks and also the size. And these different codecs will have different variations of either quality and or size based on those things. All right, I'm going to click on my blank side, go up to insert, and then click on video. When I get to video, I can see that I have some options here. I could either insert a YouTube video or I can take something off of my drive. So let's try searching for something first. So I'm going to go into YouTube and I'm going to type in hello song. So, for example, if I type that in, I get a number of different versions of hello songs that I could, for example, put into my slide. And then I can drag from the corner of the slide to make it as large as I want. And then if I want to play it, I can just click on it here. And then it looks like I have a few options on the right-hand side when it comes to video playback. Say, for example, I want my video to start at a certain time. Maybe I don't want the introduction of the video to play. So our introduction just ended at about 5 seconds. So I'm going to say, let's start our video at that 5-second mark. And let's have it play automatically. So I'm going to go up to View and then press Slideshow, and we shouldn't hear that introduction. Perfect. It started the song right without the introduction to Super Simple Songs. Nice. All right. So there's a number of things you can do with that. You could have a video start at a very specific place. Say, for example, you want your students to hear only a very specific amount of information. Then you could have the slide start at a certain time in the video and then end at a very specific time in that video. Then there's something else below. You may notice that it also says mute audio. Say, for example, you just want the pictures to play for whatever reason. Maybe you want them to play music over the top of the video that they're seeing. So I could hit mute audio and then go back to press View and Slideshow, and it would start from that same location and be muted for the entire video. Okay, and that's just another option. Another option that is available to you is that you can play this on click. So say, for example, I don't want it to play automatically. Maybe I need to give instructions or something to my students before they see the actual video start playing. I can have the slideshow come up, and when I wish it to play, I can just click on the slide. Awesome. All right. There's a couple of other options down below that you can change the video. And most of these just relate to how the video is on the screen. So for example, size and rotation, you can lock it to a very specific size, and you can change the width by percentages. Say, for example, you wanted this to be at 50% in both directions. You could make it be 50%. I can, however, add a drop shadow if I want it to have one, and I can make the distance of that shadow much further away from the video. I can change its angle. Not really sure why I want to do that with the shadow, or to even change the opacity of the shadow, and the blur radius, which is kind of silly. Not really sure why I would need that. Oh wow, and you can even change the color of the drop shadow. Well, you can get rather artistic with this. I'm not sure what purpose it would serve other than just style. But I can see how you could make an interesting background maybe for what is your video. So that's interesting. And let's go back to insert, and let's insert one of our own. So instead of inserting a video by going to YouTube, I'm going to go to Google Drive. And this time, I'm going to choose a very simple video. And one of the reasons I'm choosing this one is because I noticed that this video is an FLV, which is another file type. And it does appear that this file type is supported, even though it wasn't listed, just so you know. All right. that is pretty much it for video functions. I hope that it helps you to be able to add some videos to your slides. So I wonder if you thought about using shapes, or when you go to shapes, here's where you find them. And there's a bunch of different types. There's this one is general shapes. These are all different kinds of arrows. And callouts are like thought bubbles. And then I can kind of show you some different ways you can manipulate those a little bit later. And then you have all of your math equation types of items. All right, so be creative in how you use your shapes. So, for example, maybe I've gone to layout and I've taken a look at all the different kinds of layouts that are available to me, and I've looked through the themes and I just don't see anything that really appeals to me. So, with that in mind, I'm going to make a shape. So I added a rectangle here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start playing with this triangle to change how it looks. So I'm going to give it a thick border. I'm going to change its border color to black, and then I'm going to change its fill color to like gray, and then I'm going to start adding some more shapes to help create a template that I think will look trendy. So I'm going to create another square. I'm going to check the border weight that I chose so it matches, so 12. So I'm going to click on this and click 12. But now I'm going to choose a different color. I'm going to go ahead and choose this pretty pink color. And now I'm going to copy this shape and bring it over. It looks like I made it just a little bit too big to fit on our layout. So I'm going to change its size just a little bit. And then I'm going to change the one on the inside. And I'm going to change that one so they're about the same. Okay. Now, once I've made my shapes the size that I want, and I've made sure that their borders are the same and that they all match, now I kind of have almost like a template that I can use that maybe I like a little bit more than the layout that was provided. So say, for example, if I click inside of this now, I can actually use these shapes as dividers. So now I can edit the text. So say, for example, I would like to format this, and I want to go to the left. And I think it was set left and center from what I had before. So I'm going to go and fix that so it goes left and top. There we go. All right. So now, for example, I can start, creating the different things that I want to add to this. So say, for example, if I'm creating a numbered list, then I can start adding a numbered list. Here we go. And then I have my own little format of whatever it is that I want. And say, for example, I don't want these to match. Maybe I don't want them both pink. Maybe I want this to be a different color. It's very easy to change these two different things and make them look however it is that I want it to look, or even to insert an image on top of it or inside of it, just to create some amount of interest. Guess we'll keep this newbie theme. Let's see. So, for example, if I wanted to add something inside, so I could. So it's just to give you an idea that you can type inside of these areas and you can create the same kinds of things, and just to make things look a little more updated if you wanted to. Okay, just to give you some ideas. All right, now that we've taken a look at shapes, the next thing we're going to look at, let's see, we have arrows. These are pretty self-explanatory. You just drag to create the different shapes, whatever length or size you want to create it. And then again, you can change the border weight on the outside, and you can fill to any color that you would like it to be, or to create just one thick one. I mean, it's all dependent on how you change these things. Again, you can use the format options on the right hand side window as well. So for example, you can either lock it so that you can't change the size, you can change its angle easily, flip it the other direction. There's a bunch of different options like that, and moving it in a particular place on the screen. You can add a shadow, and just like other objects, you can change the angle of that shadow. You can make the distance further away. So again, when you're using objects and when you're using shapes, it might help you to think of some different ways that you can use them creatively to get your point across. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the next shape that was in here. So there's many different kinds of arrows. The next one I wanted to look at with you are callouts. So callouts, for example, and here's one of the reasons I wanted to share this. It's like thought bubbles. And if you grab the yellow dot, you can change, where these dots are directing to your subject. If you have the subject over here, and you can type inside of it whatever it is that you want to type, and you can, of course, modify and change that text however you want to change it. There are plenty of options. And I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing. You can change your border colors and weights just like all the other objects, and make them look pretty much however you want. So there's a lot of options in terms of being able to mess around with those different shapes. All right, after callouts, then we have equations. Same thing, they're just different shapes that you can use to create however it is that you, or whatever it is that you want. Oh, hey, just a quick aside. So say, for example, you want to create, since most of us are music teachers, this is really handy, this shape, because number one, it's the beginning of the percussion clef. So if we flip this, oops, hold on. If we flip this, let's give it a dark border. Let's make it black. And then literally all you have to do next is insert a line. So if we insert a line, and then we'll just make our line color black and change the point size maybe a little bit. And there you go, percussion clef. So there's all kinds of things you can do like that. You can do that. You can make you can even make a staff very easily just by making sure your changing your weights. So let's say, for example, let's get rid of our percussion clef, and now we have this one line, this black line. Now we can just copy and paste this same line here, and we can get ourselves a staff relatively easily. The only thing is we'd have to mess around a little bit with the positioning so that you get your position. But the cool thing about using these lines and shapes and things like this, and particularly in Google Slides, is now you can project this up on a classroom board, and then you don't have to draw it. It's already there for you. You could save this and reuse this over and over again from class to class to just remind kids, oh, hey, this is what the staff is. Where do we write? Where are all the spaces? Where are all the lines? Can you find them? Can you write the letters on them? So many awesome options using tech in classrooms, particularly. So, all right, there you go. Lines. In this section, we're going to talk about tables. All right, let's go to our empty slide, then insert, and then to table. When selecting a table, you can scroll horizontally and also vertically to determine the number of cells you would like your table to have. It looks like the limit is 20 by 20. All right, since most teachers use tables for the most part for a calendar, I'm going to go ahead and set one up, and I'm going to make this one 7 by 6. And then I'm going to distribute all the cells by dragging from the edges. And then I'm going to, when I click off of it, you can see that this is what the actual table looks like. The thick gray line is just the highlight showing that the table is selected. All right, so when you're choosing your borders, be mindful because that gray line or highlight to show that I have a table selected may not show you what your border actually looks like. All right, so now to create my calendar, or to make this more like a calendar, I'm going to highlight all of the cells at the top, and I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to click on merge cells. So this allows me to turn this into a text box area instead of another area with cells. Then I'm going to go ahead and type December. Then I'm going to press Control Shift and E to center it because that is the hotkey in Google Slides. Then I'm going to format it by putting it in the middle and changing our text size. Then maybe it's style. And all right, now let's see if we can change the background. Say for example, you want to be able to see these cells more easily. I'm gonna change all of the cells to be, instead of a gray, because that's what's selected now, to black. And it looks like it didn't select everything, so I'm just going to press Control A. Whoops. Control A. That selected the table. And now border color, black. There we go. All right. I kind of want to get rid of that page number. Hold on. Delete. Okay. Now I'm going to put this back. All right. So let's turn our calendar. Let's make our calendar look a little more pretty. All right. So then, of course, I would look at an actual calendar to see what I need to add. So I could add my numbers in each of the cells starting on Friday. So I would just start adding my numbers, and I would go through each one of the cells to add them. Nice and easy. Oops. how many do I need? 31. Oh, look at that. Okay, I needed one more row, but so I guess I'll show you how to add a row. All right, so 29, 30. Okay. Okay, so now we need to add a row. So I'm going to click on the row where I want to add a new one. And then I'm going to click Insert Row Below. And it's going to make my table a little bit bigger than the slide. So first I'm going to put in my numbers, but then I'm going to shrink my table to match the size of the slide. Now, say for example, we want to make this look a bit fancier. Maybe for example, I want this cell to be a specific color. So I'm going to right click in the cell and then I'm going to fill the color. Let's try light blue. Then maybe I want to give the calendar slightly more personality. Let's insert a picture. And we're going to use it for the background. So let's go to image, search the web. I put in snowflake pattern. And then I'm going to click on these snowflakes. Okay. Now it gives me this this image of the snowflakes, and I'm just going to stretch it out to see if I can make it fit my calendar, or the size of my calendar. But then I'm going to go to order, and I'm going to send it backward. And now I'm still seeing that it's kind of hard to see the numbers. So because it's still selected after I've sent it back, I'm going to go ahead and use the opacity, which is going to allow me to make the color a little less bright, so I can read what's in all of my cells. And I think that looks nice because it's light. So I'm going to leave that right there. And I can further do things just like this to create more interest by, for example, again, adding like in PowerPoint, I can add a picture directly into the cell. But unfortunately, in Google Slides, you can't add a picture to the cell. But also know that when you do add a picture into the cell in PowerPoint, it actually sometimes takes a really long time for it to like load and to come up. So maybe doing it this way might even be better, just because it will have the memory to load the program. So I'm going to go to Insert again, and this time I'm going to go to search the web again. But I'm going to put in something like Christmas tree. Oh, guess my fingers are not in the right place. There we go. Christmas tree. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to try to find... Because our cells are kind of tiny, you kind of want to find a picture that has kind of the same shape, or when you're looking at your pictures, like choosing one that has a similar shape is easier to make sure that the image fits. This image is kind of square, whereas opposed to this one is like a better shape for the fit. So actually I think I'm going to choose this one just because of the shape. Alright, and I'm going to press Insert, and now I'm just going to make it quite a bit smaller to see if I can make it be about the size of that cell. And once I get it to about the size that I want, I'm going to again send this behind, but I don't want to send it to the back. I want to send it backward. Okay. When I send it backward, it ends up in front of the image that we put behind first, but also behind the text. And now that it's highlighted, I can change the opacity of it so that when I type over this, I can still kind of see the image and see that, oh, hey, that's a special day. There's a picture there. So now I can literally type over this Christmas and then maybe change the text size and the boldness maybe, just to make it so I can see what's happening on that day. Or maybe even change the number red so I know that there's something going on. But I mean, there's so many options and so many different ways you can do this, and maybe even my opacity wasn't even the perfect fit. Or you could even change, maybe you don't like that, maybe you can just change the entire cell to be a solid color if that's what you wanted. But I mean, of course, there's so many options in how you can format your text and how you want something to look, and the ways that you want it to be presented. So these are just some different ideas, and just to get you thinking about the ways that you can use Google Slides to help you, and a way that you can use it to make life easier within teaching, or etc. All right. Oh yeah, also I probably would want to match the text. I also just noticed that the text was different. Not that like that's a big deal, but I mean it just is more pleasing if it looks the same. I don't know. I'm just realizing that I hadn't done that, so I think it just looks a little better. Anyways, all right. Moving on. Now that you know that you can do things like this, you can also change the borders of your table. So say for example, I just want maybe I want this border to be highlighted again because it's a special day. So I'm going to go up to the top and I can click on the border color and I can hit red, and that will make this day pop out even further. And maybe I want it to even match like the text color that I chose. Whoops, wrong day. So for example here, I would change that to be the same as the number color that I used. Just even further. And again, you can do that with all of your cells, and you can change these cells in different ways. So say for example, you can do the entire outside, just the bottom, just the top, just the left side, just the right side. The only thing I haven't had success with are these inner ones. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong in this case, and maybe somebody on YouTube can school me if they happen to know what that answer is. The only other thing you can do is you can change the sizes of these boxes by using your cursor in Just Erase Bot. So if I like hovered over this line here, I can move this line wherever I want. And that is the same with, I believe, most of the lines in the table. Oh yeah, you can unmerge the cells. So if I wanted these to go back to being squares, I could. I almost forgot to say that you can change the borders. So for example, just like you can change the borders with other shapes, if you click on the table and you go to border dash, you can change these to dots, lines, all the different patterns that they have available here. And you can also change their weight so that they look a little bit heavier. depending on how you want your calendar to look. That is it. Thank you. In the next section of this video, we're going to talk about the insert functions of Google Slides and charts. Charts are really complicated, and I'm going to try to do my best to make them as simple as possible. All right, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of everything else on the slide, and then I'm going to press Insert, and I'm going to go to Chart. There are so many different types of charts, and I'm not going to individually go through all of them, but I'm going to show you kind of what you can do to change them and the options that you have available to you, and kind of how they work and how you can change their data. All right, first thing that you need to be aware of is that all of the charts and diagrams are linked, and they're linked to Google Sheets. So when you go to linked chart and you see these three little dots, this is what's going to let you change the data that's listed in these charts. So you're going to click Open Source. Unlinking it will unlink it from the actual from the Google Sheets, and you don't want to do that because you want your data to be able to update, and I will show you what that means once we've changed some of the settings. So you can see that there's a chart right here in Google Slides, and there's a couple of different ways that you can change the data inside of this chart. First, you can directly change the data in the cells by just clicking on the cells and changing what's there. You can click inside the chart itself and change the text in here. And then you can also customize the chart on the right hand side using these two different tabs. This tab is for setup, which is going to show you some different ways that the chart can be arranged. And then the customization of the chart will show you how you can change the look of some of the data, and again how it looks when it's shown. Now to open that window, you're going to right click on these three little dots and then click on Edit Chart. Let's first take a look at setup. If you click on chart type, you're going to see that there is a ridiculous number of charts and chart types that you can use in this section. In fact, there's so many here that from bar charts to line charts and pie graphs and area charts and stacked charts and step charts and columns and pie charts, scatter charts, bubble charts, maps, geo charts with markers, including waterfall charts, histograms, radar chart, gauge chart, scorecard charts, candlestick charts, organizational charts, tree map charts, timeline charts, and even table charts. So there is so much here and so much to look through. And I'm just going to try to do a brief overview of how you can change the data, because how you can change the data is the same in each one of these different types of charts. Okay, so now that you've seen all the different types, let's take a look at what's below. Under chart type is stacking. So for example, this is another chart type. So if you click on the down arrow and you click on standard, you get the standard type of a stacking chart. And then 100%, you get a percentage chart. Then underneath that, you have what is called your data range. And if you take a look at A1, there's nothing in A1, but B1 has what's going to be the legend for the chart. And then A2 through 5 has the data in the vertical axis of the chart. So for example, if you want to edit this, you can edit directly in the cell, and we can add team 5 here, and then we can add some point values underneath period 1. So we can say maybe period 1 they scored 25 points, and maybe period 2 they scored 35 points. So then you can see down below it's updated the series, and you can see the bar chart. So actually I'm gonna update this, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna change the name of this to basketball points scored. Okay. So you can literally update right in the chart, and if you actually click on information in the chart, it will also open. So like for example, I clicked on the series and it opened up customize so that I can customize any of that series stuff. But let's continue in setup, because there's not much more information underneath setup. The only other things in here that you can do is you can change the data range. So right now it's A1 to E50, so you can see that this part of the Excel sheet is what's being used, the white sheet, and it goes all the way down here, although it doesn't look like, it's not showing that it's stopped here. So you can probably add more points in the range past 50 if you needed to. You can remove that and change that if you want. You can add a label to it. I'm not sure what aggregate means. Series, these are your the bars. So for example, under period 1 it's got the light blue, and then period 2 has the dark blue. So I can remove these, remove one of them or all of them. So if I do this, it will take it away, but it will keep the first color. I'm going to press Control Z to put it back. And then you can add a series, but I haven't found anything which allows me to change the legend, like for example where it says period 1 and period 2. So I'm not sure that you could add a third series, or I'm not entirely sure how you would do that if you wanted to add another one. I mean, it does say that you can add it below, but I have tried to add data, and I've tried adding numbers, and I've tried adding cells, and it doesn't seem to like that. So I'm not sure how to write the range properly, unless you have to write the same exact range. Let's try that, A1 to A50. Let's see if it will keep the same range. Yeah, no. So I'm not sure what it's looking for here. Okay. All right, next. This is pretty much it for the setup of the chart. So now we're on the customization of the chart. You can change all of the text. So underneath this part, I'm looking at, let's go to the chart style. Like say for example, you can change all of the fonts at the same time. So for example, here, I'm going to put it as wide because I just like it thicker. I think it's easier to read. And then if you go further down, you can change each font individually. So say for example, if you want a different font for the title than you do for the legend or for the vertical data, then you can change that if you want to. You also can change the background color of the chart. You can change the border. So I'm going to put it black. You can kind of like almost like zoom in to see the data. So if I hit maximize, it will just make the data look larger. 3D, of course, just makes it look 3D. I don't understand compare mode or what that does or what it changes, because when I click it, I don't see any visible changes occurring. So I'm not sure if you have to have a separate chart in order for that to work. Okay, let's move on to the next indicator. Chart and access titles. So for example, again, as I was saying, you can change the font, but this is individually just for the title. So say for example, you wanted a different font for the title. Maybe you want it Comic Sans and bold, and maybe we want that to be bigger, and maybe we want it to be black. Okay. So you can completely customize these charts. You can even center or change, the format of where your title is on the chart. It actually has quite a bit of customization available. Now you can even change the series color. You can change the line color around the series. So for example, I'm going to choose something really bright just so that it stands out while we're looking at it. I'm going to choose this really bright orange, and then I'm gonna make it way thicker so you can really see it. So there's options to do the line thickness around the series. To change that, you can change the opacity of the line. I don't know why the line color changed back to white. There we go. Auto, I guess. And then you can change it to either lines or dashes. Say for example, you have a bunch of series and you need them to look different somehow, but you only have a limited number of colors to use, and you can change how the lines are around the outside of the series to make it different if you need to. You can add error bars. So for example, on the end, you could change this to whether it's a constant or percent or standard deviation, and then put the value right here. You can label what the exact numbers are from your data set into the actual chart. And then even further, you can customize this by even changing the font of the numbers, and whether they are white or black, or there's so many options available here. You can change the number format, from a currency to a date and time, or a percent, or not a whole number. There's a lot of ways that you can set up these charts really easily. You can change how the legend is currently set up. You can put it on. You can change the font. You can change where it is. Like for example, I can position it at the bottom. I can put it at the top. I can put it to the left or to the right. Personally, I like it at the top. I just think it's clearer. You can change the text color. So for example, let me change it to something that's easily visible. Maybe nope, that isn't. How about, yeah, there you go. But anyways, you have many options available to you in terms of all the customization, and you can literally, if you wanted a different font for every type of text around this entire chart, then you could. So again, it has the same kinds of choices: font, size, color, show access line, bold and italicize. You can change what the value is that's being shown. Right now it's going to 100, but for example, you can change it to whatever you want by adding in the amount here. And you can change the scale factor here as well. You can also, oops, let's put that back. You can you can slant the labels at the bottom. So for example, I can turn these. The one thing I don't like about this is you can't turn it all the way to a 180 degree, because I would like to actually see these numbers going the opposite direction. But this is just what's available in Google Slides. And again, this is just changing the format of the numbers. Then you have your vertical axis. This is your where it says like team 1 through 5. So for example, you could really easily reverse these. So say for example you wanted to see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just click that button and it switches it around, which is really awesome. A nice easy way to flip that. Then you can also add ticks in between your series, so you can kind of see the lines in between the series. That's what that is. And then you can actually choose how those are positioned inside the series, outside the series, in between, and then you can change their length. So that's the shortest length, this is the longest length. You can also change the thickness of the line, and then you can even change the color of the line. So maybe I wanted to match the outline, or maybe I want it to be completely different from the outline. I mean, that's completely up to you. That's pretty much it for the setup of the chart and a couple of different ways that you can change it or customize it. Know that you can always click on the actual chart to make any kinds of customizations, as well as editing within the cells, or also within the customized section of the chart editor as well. So that's pretty much it for the chart editor. So now I'd like to show you how, if we go back to Google Slides, all of the information that we've input, you can now update to this chart. So say for example, I click this update button in my slide. Everything that I did is now pulled over into this chart. And that's pretty cool, especially if you have something that you edit often and you use these kinds of charts often. It's a really useful feature. That's pretty much it in the way of charts, because all of these charts, there's so many different types of them and styles of them. So I'm just going over one type of chart, just because there's so many different types and different ways to change these, but you change them all basically the same way, and you can update the data in the same way, and by manipulating Google Sheets within the same way. All right, so next let's talk about diagrams. The diagrams that are available to you are also customizable. So say for example, I'm just going to click on the first one, grid, and under the menu on the right hand side, You have different levels of these, so you can say, for example, I click on this this chart. It only has three levels currently, but I can turn this to as many as 5 levels. To update it, I do have to click on the film strip on the right hand side to get that to populate inside the slide. I also can change the color, but these are the colors that are available to me for the set. And again, you have to click on the film strip to change that. Now, you can, however, go through and change each one of these boxes, but you have to do it, unfortunately, it's like individual. So for example, if I wanted to do multiple, I would click on control, and then I would click all the boxes that I wanted to change. But you can see, depending on how many I've added, on different types of charts, it doesn't allow you to fill. This one does seem to be allowing me to fill this many at the same time, but not all of them will allow you to do that because of the types of shapes and characters that are available. Like, for example, let's look at the third one here. If we tried to do this, the same thing that I just did on the previous chart by changing a custom color, I can only fill one part of this at a time. So if you look at what I've clicked on, you can see that there's multiple shapes and text windows. So you can keep adding these, but it will stop adding the fill at the top when you get to a certain point. So it's a lot harder to colorize these in a custom style than what's available to you if there's a lot of different shapes in the actual diagram, just so you know. Also, all of these diagrams are easily customizable, but just by clicking within the text boxes. So you literally can just like type right within these to change the data. They're really simple. So, all right, let's check out some of the others. So you can see there's a number of different styles and a number of different ways that all of these diagrams can work, and they all pretty much work the same way. There's a bunch of different types. They have different numbers of levels. They seem to all have like the same color sets available here, which you can customize. It's just not all of it is easily customizable as the rest. The easiest colors to use are the ones right here. Let's try another type. We had grids. We have hierarchies. We have timelines. Okay. There are processes and relationship cycles. Different types of cycles. And finally, you can just see all of them on the right hand side. All right, that is it for charts and diagrams. Next, let's take a look at word art. So let's pick out, I'm going to use my name. All right, so, whoops. Let's fix that. I have 2 S's. Enter. So basically, when you click on the word art thing, it opens a menu and you type in the word you want to use, and then click enter. You have to, if you want to do more than one line, like for example, here, let me go back and we'll try one more thing so I can show you how to do 2 lines. So for example, if I want to do, when I'm doing this word art and I want to have more than one line, today is Alyssa's birthday. So if I want to do that, then I have to click Shift and Enter for each one of those individual lines in order for it to populate. So then when I click this, it will come up with all of these. So now from here, I could do a number of different things to change the look of it. I can change the fill. I can do a gradient. That doesn't look as... I could do a custom gradient. I could add... Here we go. Let's choose... I'm going to do a linear. I can change the angle at which the gradient is at. I can add a stop. So for example, maybe I want this to be a different color. Let's make this red. Let's make this one orange. Let's make this one yellow. So you could create a custom gradient for your word, and then you can change the border color around it. You could change, of course, its weight. Let's make that, there we go. You can change it to dashes or dots or whatever else is available underneath border. We can change the font style. So these are just a number of different ways that you can play with word art in Google Slides. All right, I think that's mostly it for the customization of word art. I'm just gonna double check and make sure there's no other options that I have available to me here. Format options. Of course, there's always the options to add things like drop shadows and reflections, etc., to change its opacity. Those options are there for most things. The distance of the shadow, the blur radius. These are all things that we've talked about in other parts of the Google Slides tutorial. You can of course do a reflection, and you can change all of these as well, the opacity, distance, and size. Alright, I think that's it for word art. Alright, the next function are lines. Lines, we've kind of looked at straight lines already, where when you grab them, that you can change their weights and color and border. So I'm going to change, turn it black. I'm going to make it really thick. And then I'm going to change it to dash. So like there's a bunch of different ways you can mess with these lines. You can turn it into an arrow. When you're using this arrow, this particular one, you can change the points by clicking on how you want your line to start and how you want your line to end right here. So if I click on this here and then click on that, then it's given me a different end and a different beginning and a different end. Let me see if I can make this a bit larger for you so that you can see what it is that I did. When you change the weight, you can see that I put a different end and a different beginning and a different end on these points. Just so you know that you can do that if you have to create some kind of a map or something. Okay. Let's take a look at what else is available to us under line. We've got elbow connectors. So depending on how you pull this, it'll help you to create a line. Again, same thing, change the weights, you can change the dashes, you can change the beginning and ends of these lines. Maybe I want the same beginning and end. Maybe I'm trying to make a map that shows the direction where somebody's going to go from one point to another. That might be a great way to show how to get there. You can do a curved connector. You can change the direction in which you're doing the curve. And if you need to change the the trajectory of the line, you pull on this yellow point to change and manipulate how you want that line to look, or where you would like that point to curve, basically. And again, you can add beginnings and ends to that point if you want to. To use this S-curve, whenever you click, it's going to create a new curving point. So one of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes people don't understand how to stop this curve. To stop it, you double click. Okay. And again, you can do all of the same options that you had before. Change the weight, change the style, add a point to the beginning and end. Change its color. I didn't think it would fill quite like that. So I'm guessing that when you want to change the actual... Let's try that again. So that will fill the inside of the curve. So I'm guessing we have to use border instead. Yep, okay. Interesting. Alright, so I didn't know you could fill these. That was accidental discovery. Neat. Well, now we know. So you could create a relatively interesting design, I guess, if you were playing around with this and happen to use the fill button. So, for example, if I want to get out of this menu, so say, for example, I've accidentally clicked on this curve thing, and then as I've started to play with it, I've started to realize, oh my gosh, I can't make it stop. Just to leave the menu, you can hit escape and it will just delete everything you did. And that's the easiest way to leave the menu. And to make it stop is you just double click. Alright. The points can be manipulated after you've ended the click. So, for example, if you've double clicked, you can still manipulate these points. So say you drew something and you didn't draw it exactly the way you wanted to draw it, you can just drag these points to manipulate it the way that you wanted. Awesome. Alright, let's check out one of these others. Alright, so underneath S-curve, we have the polyline. That just means if you click, you're creating a point. So you could particularly create a specific shape. So say, for example, I want to create a shape that doesn't exist in these either callouts, equations, arrows, or shapes. I could create that particular shape. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can try to create a star. So for example, I would click on a point, click on another point, and then that just allows me to choose where I'm starting and ending these points. And then of course someone who is more artistic than myself could probably create a better star. Oh man, that's a rough star. But but I'm sure you can take the time to figure out how you'd like to create it. And then of course the cool thing about these polylines is that you can resize them and recolor them however you like. The gradient is available if you'd like to use it. You can even use the custom color. So again, you can use these custom gradients where, for example, let's add some stops. Let's add like 5 stops. Here we go. So here we'll do a rainbow kind of a thing, just to show you what this might look like. Sure. So, so that just gives you an idea of how you can mess with those gradients and create shapes. The next line function is scribble. So scribble is basically the same as draw in PowerPoint. It's just a free line. And I want to actually really quickly comment on how I use this in my classroom, because it's really helps our students have a more accessible way of understanding the material. Also, you can manipulate this line with all of the same things that you can do with most of the other shapes, etc. So one of the reasons I like to use draw in my classroom, and one of the reasons I like to project on my board, is because I like to take one of these blank slides and then make sure that when I'm writing things, that when I have classes with students with low vision, that I'm writing on the Google slide instead of writing on the physical whiteboard. And one of the reasons I do this is because we create like a Google Meet in our classroom, so that way the information that I am sharing and projecting, I can share to that student's individual screen. And then particularly if they're using an iPad, this is probably the most accessible way they can use it. They can enlarge their screen however they see fit as you're working, as long as when you're writing a drawing, that you're writing, drawing, or typing and drawing instructions on this slide for them to read and for them to see. So that way throughout the classroom or throughout the class, they're able to follow along a lot more easily. So that is one of the reasons I like to use these blank slides, and I've trained myself not to write on the whiteboard, but to write on the Google slide, so that way all students are able to accessibly see what it is that I'm writing. Just a cool tip, and I hope that helps you in your classroom. All right, awesome. I think that is it for lines. The next thing that we've got in here is adding comments. So adding a comment to a slide, all you do is you can click on this button here. I could, for example, say, check out this slide and add your thoughts And then if I, for example, put in somebody's email address, the music tech teacher at gmail.com, then I can alert them that I want them to know, either that I want them to comment on this. I can share it with them. I can allow them to edit it. So say, for example, I want them to, not only do I want them to comment, share their thoughts, but hey, if you don't like this, go ahead and fix it. Then I can give them access to be able to comment and edit. So that's just something cool to know. And then they can either add a reaction to it when they see it. They can resolve it by clicking on the check mark to mark it as done, or they can delete it. There's a number of different things that you can do with comments. There's two places you can find comments. You can either find it here in the toolbar or within insert. And it looks like there is a quick function as well, which is Control Alt and M. Okay. The only other thing that's in here is adding a slide. So you can just press Control M to add a slide, or click here. So I clicked there, and now I'm going to try Control M to just add one. Very simple. I can add slide numbers, which I already have in here. So for example, I can turn them back off by clicking on that again. Or I can make it skip adding a number to the title slide. So now if I go back to slide number 1, there should not be a number on it. Yep, but there will be on the second one. I can change, thought I could change how they were numbered. I think you might be able to edit inside the box. Yeah, so if you click on the box, if you need to further edit for some reason, if it didn't change or for whatever reason, or you need to change the number, you can just double click on it to change it, and you can shrink the text, and you can rotate this box because it has that little anchor on it, basically. Other than that, that's pretty much it. A placeholder, this is going to have to be an entirely another video, because basically a placeholder has to do with master slides, and I'd like to do a separate video on what master slides are, because they're kind of complicated, and then I'll explain what a placeholder is and what it does, and how you can use master slides to your advantage in a classroom. All right. Thank you so much. I think we have covered all of the insert functions of Google Slides. And I've got to tell you, this video has been the longest, most challenging, most edited video I have ever done. I hope it's helpful, and I hope it's useful for you, because it literally took me 2 weeks to put all of these functions together. Thank you so much. Please tell me if it helped you in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.